All right, let's get right into it. We've all been there, right? You've spent hours, and I mean hours, staring at a textbook. You're highlighting page after page, and you feel like you're doing the work. But then you close the book and nothing. None of it actually stuck. It's probably one of the most common and most frustrating things about being a student. So what's going on here?
Does this sound familiar? I bet it does. It's the classic student complaint. You put in the time, you read every single word, but when you actually need to remember the information for a test or a discussion, your mind just goes blank. It's a really demoralizing feeling, for sure.
So why? Why does this keep happening? Is it a bad memory? Are you just not focusing hard enough? Well, the answer is actually a lot simpler than you might think, and it has everything to do with how we're taught to read in the first place.
And here it is. This is the fundamental mistake that almost all of us make. From the time we're kids, we learn to read stories. So naturally, when we get a textbook, our brain just defaults to the same method, reading it like a novel, from page 1 straight through to the end.
But here's the kicker. That linear cover-to-cover approach is completely wrong for a textbook. In fact, it's probably the fastest way to forget everything you just read. It feels productive because you're turning pages, but it's really a trap for your memory.
So to fix this, we have to understand why these two kinds of books are so different. They have totally different purposes, different structures. They exist for completely different reasons. And that means they demand a completely different reading strategy from us.
Let's just compare them side by side. When you're reading a novel, you're following a story. You're getting lost in the flow. But a textbook isn't one long story. No, it's a dense collection of individual concepts. Almost every paragraph, sometimes every sentence, is a brand new idea. And each of those ideas is in there for a very specific reason. You can't just let them wash over you like you would with a story.
Okay, so if reading it like a novel is out, what's in? Well, we need a complete shift in our approach, a total change in our mindset. We need to become a problem solver. This right here is the absolute key to making information stick.
So let's start with what we need to ditch. When you sit down to study, there's probably one question that pops into your head first, but it's the absolute wrong question to be asking.
This one. How many pages did I get through? Or did I finish the chapter? This is a trap. It focuses on quantity, not quality. It turns studying into a race to the finish line, instead of what it should be, a mission to understand. Instead, we're going to throw that old question out and replace it with a new one, a much more powerful question that completely changes why you're even looking at the page. And there it is. This is the game changer. Every single concept, every formula, every definition in that book was created to solve some kind of problem. When you start asking this question, you stop being a passive passenger and you start being an active driver. You start thinking.
So this whole problem solver mindset really boils down to asking 3 simple questions for everything you read. First, why is this here? This makes you figure out its purpose in the grand scheme of things. Second, where is this used? This is huge. It connects an abstract idea to a real-world application, which makes it so much easier to remember. And finally, the most important one. What kind of questions can be asked from this? This is where the magic happens. You start thinking like your professor, like the person writing the exam. You're basically studying for the test before it's even written.
The difference between the old way and this new way is really the difference between passive and active reading. It's about going from just consuming information to actually using it.
Let's look at what that really means. Passive reading is what we've been talking about. Just reading straight through, highlighting whatever looks important, which usually means the whole page ends up yellow, and just trying to memorize lines. It doesn't work. Active reading is strategic. You're hunting for the key ideas. You're connecting them to other things you already know. And you're always thinking about potential questions and how you would answer them.
And let's be honest, for a lot of us, that's the bottom line, isn't it? Getting ready for the exam. Well, an exam doesn't care how many hours you stared at a book. It cares if you can solve the problems it throws at you. And only this active, problem-solving approach is actually going to get you ready for that.
So to wrap this all up, let's just hammer this main idea home. The next time you crack open a textbook, don't see it as a story you have to get through. See it for what it is, a toolkit. It's a box filled with tools, and each one is designed for a very specific job.
So what does this mean for you tonight when you sit down to study? It means you read like a problem solver. You read like a professional who's been hired to figure this stuff out. And most of all, you read with questions buzzing in your head, constantly on the lookout for the next puzzle to solve.
You know, at the end of the day, this is what it's all about. A novel is meant to entertain you. A textbook is meant to train you. It's a gym for your brain. It's there to build up your mental muscles and change the way you think.
So, the next time you sit down with your book, don't ask yourself, how many pages am I going to read? Ask yourself this instead. What problem are you going to solve first?